All right, guys, we're live. As you can see, we got Calvin over on the other side. Hey, just to take care of some quick business first, subscribe right now if you haven't already. Hit that like button while I'm thinking of it. While you're thinking of it, just hit it. Share, please share. We are growing slowly, but we are growing. I think we're up to 460 something subscribers, and next goal is 500. Okay, we're here to talk about our new basketball coach, Kelvin. And he had a press
First
conference
thing
today.
we'll do before we forget is give to the swarm.
There you go. The swarm
Let's
can use
help
your help.
Brad out.
Yeah. Hopefully, I looked at my bank account. Swarm took the money a couple of weeks ago, so
Yeah.
they're happy. They're happy for another year with me.
Yeah, well, that I told you I sent $100. That I figured I was going to win from you in our bet, and I said I sent it to the swarm. Because you said you don't deal in cash in betting, and I don't either. So
Yeah,
I wouldn't have took no $100 from anybody.
I know you
Yeah.
wouldn't have. So, let's just get started. I think the biggest thing for me that stood out from today's press conference is when he started talking about the timeline. When he said that he mentioned that the day after Fran was fired, that he got a call from Beth. Okay,
Yeah.
and of course he just allowed Beth. He told Beth he just needed time to focus on his team and stuff. And then they talked the day after they were out of the tournament,
Mm-hmm.
and then of course he signed the they just negotiated on Sunday, and as we know, it was 6:45 a.m. Monday morning when he actually signed the contract because he told us that today.
Yeah, he wasn't out of the tournament until Saturday.
Yeah,
And then he landed in
decided
Des
to go back to
Moines.
Des
He
Moines.
landed in Des Moines at 10. I think it was almost 10 o'clock on Sunday. And
Yeah,
that's when the negotiations really took off. So
yeah. So
anyway,
that's why this stuck out to me, was because I mentioned it to you earlier. Is a lot of people were saying Darren DeVries was coming. Practically said it was a finalized deal.
yeah.
It was coming, and we're not going to go. I'm not going to go through names of everybody, but a
But
lot of them were respected journalists.
yeah. A lot of people they get in a hurry to have the story first,
Hmm.
and I told people that Tom Caker said that at the first donor meeting, the donors were big on DeVries, and Beth told them that her first choice was McCollum.
Yeah,
But that didn't tell me who she was going to offer the job to first or anything. But that was the only tidbit I seen any place that said I try to read everything.
Yeah. Oh, you do.
I send all that stuff to you, and you don't have time, but I'm sick.
Yeah.
So one night I was sick, and I was up at 2 o'clock in the morning in pain. So I stayed on the sports watch from 2 a.m. to 11 p.m. the next night.
Gee.
So that's how much time I devoted to it. So,
yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah. As you know, it's kind of hard for me to read stuff, and you
Well,
always
you're
send me
busy.
good stuff from On3, but for some reason I've sent them an email. I've been booted out and can't get back in. And so even using my credentials. So we'll find out why I can't read On3 stuff, because as you know, that's a lot of good stuff over there.
Yeah.
Okay. So what stood out from you today in the news conference? The one thing that you just thought, wow.
Well, the first thing was this morning was me and you watched the Brad video.
Yeah. Right.
And Brad said that he was in contact with Beth all the time.
Right.
But he wasn't in any interviews, which he's no basketball player or expert. Why would he be in the coach's interview?
No,
but I just think from the news conference today, so many things, but this McCollum guy loves the Hawkeyes.
Oh my gosh, did he ever? Boy, he came right out the gate with that, didn't he?
Oh my God, he said as a little kid at a basketball camp, Bruce Pearl and Jerry Strom were up there, and Bruce Pearl came over and told his mom that this kid reminds me of me. So competitive, and he got a medals as the MVP and the hardest worker at the camp. And you're just thinking, this kid's like Chris Street.
Yeah.
And they ask him, what kind of players does he want? And he goes, I want them just like Chris Street. Does that make you like tear up a little bit?
It does. It does. I mean, and he wants his team to be like Chris Street, fighting and scrappy and stuff. And I have no doubt that he will find the players that will work in his system. And at first I wasn't excited about his hire because I didn't like what I called lick lighter ball, and a lot of people felt that way. But once you watched him, you realize you watched his team in the tournament, and I also watched him in his Missouri Valley Conference game that they won. You realize that that's not really lick lighter ball what they're doing.
Oh, I watched them a little bit this year. And I just thought they looked very efficient. To me, they look like a Bo Ryan team or a Tony Bennett team. Or this year, the coach at Iowa State played faster. But when he came to Iowa State, when he didn't have talent, he played like that. And Tim Floyd played like that too. Yeah. At Iowa State. But
so when you don't have shooters, you play defense and let the defense create you some offense, right?
Yeah, you listened to the press conference, didn't you?
I did.
It was like educational.
Yeah, no, and I think, he failed to mention, but I thought I read somewhere where his team this year was the number one offensive efficiency team in the country. Did I read that right, or did I get that wrong?
Well, he's been number one in offensive efficiency a bunch of years.
Yeah.
But this was his first year at Division I. I don't know if he was, but he was talking about the plaques he got from his other job, and then he said the plaque I really cherished the most was the time they gave me the one for the most wins in the NCAA. He made the point that wins was his goal, so. Are you froze up, Dean? Anyway, I guess I'll keep talking for a little bit here. But he said that his past teams were very much better shooting teams. He had ridiculous shooting teams. He had a couple guys on a team that were over 50% from 3 points, 3-point land, and several other guys on the team that were over 40%. No wonder they were the best offensive efficiency team in college basketball. This year, he didn't have those shooters. So Dean is back.
I am back. So hopefully everybody.
I kept talking, Dean.
Here. All righty.
I tried to carry the show while you were gone. So
there you go. Okay.
Yeah.
Another thing I thought when he brought up Steve Kraftson's Special K, I thought that probably made there.
Yeah, you froze up for a second there. You said something about when he brought up Steve Krafton. And what did you say after that?
Yeah, I just said that probably made you proud because you've been talking about that for a couple of days now.
Yeah. Because I wrote about Ben McCollum 2 weeks ago on these Hawkeye sites. Steve commented, and then I asked him if he wanted to, is it okay if I visit with him? So I gotten to know Steve, who's like, guys our age, Steve's one of our heroes, right? Final Four.
Yes.
So he's so proud. He is so proud today.
I bet he is.
Dean, I bet he is. You cannot believe it.
One of his players. So he mentioned that Steve Krafton, I must have forgot this tidbit, that he's been to 2 Final Fours with 2 different teams. Who besides Iowa? Who was the other?
He went to North Carolina right out of high school. He was one of the top recruits. I was following recruiting back then. Him and Kevin Boyle were at St. Lawrence High School in Chicago together.
Oh,
a
really?
Catholic school.
Then
And Boyle Boyle came to Iowa, and he was freshman of the year in the Big Ten. And Craftston went to North Carolina and played some, but he was on that Final Four team. Then he transferred to Iowa because he seen at North Carolina these athletes there. He probably wasn't going to get to play a lot, so he come and he had to sit out a year, and then he had 3 years at Iowa. But
Yeah. I mean,
yeah,
and so we all remember Special K.
yeah.
So okay.
And then me and Steve talked about the Final Four run. That was pretty interesting stuff. But that's off subject. So
Yeah, that is, but that would be nice to get him on a show sometime and talk about those kind of things.
oh God, be a good idea.
Yeah.
If you'd have had him on tonight, it'd have been better than me.
Yeah.
But
Okay, so also too, he talked about when they talked about what kind of a style he has, and basically what I took away from it is that he kind of his style and coaching philosophy for game time is based on what talent he has on the floor and what they're capable of doing.
yes, and he's a lockdown defensive coach and an efficient offensive coach. So
Right. Yeah.
sounds good to me. Sounds like we haven't had that since Lute Olson.
Yeah.
So
I'm really anxious to see who his final roster will look like.
mhm.
So we'll probably won't find out a lot about that for a while yet.
Yeah, I'm glad Price showed up at part of the news conference and stuff. So
Yeah,
that's
Peyton was there
possible.
too. So I do know that because Peyton went up and gave the coach a hug.
Yeah, I seen he listed Tyler. He's hired Tyler Sash's brother, who was with him at Drake, as an assistant, and some guy named Xavier Kurth. And that rings a bell with me and another guy from Drake. And then he's going to hire a couple other, I guess you get 5 assistants or something.
Yeah, something like that. So do you think, I don't, you don't like to speculate, but I think the fans would love to see Matt Gatens be that last guy on the.
Yeah. I've heard some speculation, and I know, I'm pretty sure it's Gatens and Denning are the 2 guys that Beth kept around there to hold things together.
Right.
And those are 2 guys he's considering. I don't know if Denning was just a video guy or an operations guy or what he was. I never heard of him before.
I haven't either. Yeah.
And then people are talking about some high school coach in, I don't know. He might be at some high school out around Des Moines or something, but
Oh, okay.
I don't know. But Northwest or something. I can't remember. My brain don't work. But
So, do you think with him, is this the end of the shooters from the state of Iowa that Coach McCaffrey's built his teams around?
No, not shooters. But these guys are going to Price Sandiford. If he's here next year, he's going to be a 50% better defensive player.
Yeah. They'll have to go out and convince these guys.
Because when you were froze up, I explained that what he said at his news conference, that he likes to have a bunch of great 3-point shooters. He didn't have that this year.
No, but they took a lot of 3-point shots during the tournament because I watched. They weren't afraid to shoot it.
He said when you only got a couple real good shooters, he says you got to hold the ball longer to get them that shot. And he meant that when you have 4 real good 3-point shooters, you can shoot it quicker because you can get the ball to 4 different people instead of 2. It doesn't take quite as long. So
what I would like to see is if he does bring back Bryce, and he mentioned Josh. He asked for help in getting Josh. Said call and text him, get him back.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's going to happen from what I've heard. But I would hope that the 3-point shooters, if they come back, my personal opinion is I hope that they're more consistent. That maybe the new coaching staff can help these guys be more consistent in 3-point shooting, because it always seems like every team we play, they're very consistent on 3-point shots against us.
I hope so too. So anyway, good basketball is what we want to see, and we want to see winning basketball, and we want to see the seats filled.
Yeah.
And we want a bunch of people to send money to the Swarm because that's the only way nowadays. I wanted to repeat that again. Please send money to the Swarm because there's no other round out about it, any other way about it. Now that's the way it is.
Yep. Yeah, it's you have to buy into it whether you like it or not. You and I come from old school college sports, and
Mhm.
we have to accept the new way because it is what it is, whether we like it or not. Because our teams don't win if they don't get involved in it. I
Yeah.
see you have your Swarm shirt on today.
Yeah.
I have my. I didn't wear my one, but I have my Big Ten men's basketball champions
Oh,
shirt on.
tourney champion. Yeah, I
Yeah,
got that. That's behind me hanging on the couch.
yeah.
I
I
look
thought I
at
would
it every
wear
day.
it in honor of that. Maybe we can actually get a championship in the first year.
It would be good. Regular season championships are hard to come by, especially with 18 teams now. But anyway,
Yeah. So
I
anyway,
think we got a coach that makes me excited about that.
yeah. No,
Yeah.
after listening to him speak today, I'm very excited. I listened to his former AD at Drake yesterday in his press conference, and that kind of wishes, like if our AD spot ever opens up, I would love to have that guy as our AD.
He sounded good. I don't know. I know he's been hiring good basketball coaches.
Yeah.
There's a lot more when you get in the Big Ten. Boy, football's number one.
Yes.
So, but
Unless you're Indiana.
well, no. Yeah, Indiana ain't doing very good in the basketball hiring.
No, ever since we
I'm
got rid
not
of
saying that about DeVries, but I'm talking about since Bobby Knight, they they went to that one Final Four the first year, but since then it's been coach after coach after coach. With all the money that Indiana has in nil,
yeah.
it's like Coach Ben pointed it out today.
What?
It ain't all about the money either.
No.
He said, I'd rather have winning players who are team players and what do you say? Giving players. They
Mhm.
aren't all about themselves.
Right. And that's the
Like
kind
he
of
said,
players.
the new point guard, he said he'd be happy if they won. That point guard would be happy if they won every game and he scored 0 points.
Yeah. Well, now when he mentioned him by name, was he breaking a recruiting rule?
No, because the kid was already in the portal, I believe, and committed. But anyway, I don't know. Don't bring that. Don't get us in trouble, Dean. Shh.
I know, but I mean, he's not officially on campus. I don't know that he actually signed.
I'm going to start calling you Cade McNamara and Caden Proctor. Both of them guys opened their mouth. Oh my
They
God.
did. Yeah. We didn't get in trouble for the Caden Proctor thing. Yeah, I like the when Corey brought up and asked about scheduling Drake and you and I. I like how he kind of danced around it, but never directly said yes or no.
No, he knows that Beth's in charge.
Yeah.
Beth doesn't think they need to do that. And I took it as kind of, well, no, I don't think we need to get upset by Drake and you and I. But I don't know. I don't know what either one of them was thinking.
It sounded like he'd rather have a bunch of quad 4 teams and beat them by a whole bunch of points because that counts in your net ranking.
if you read some of the stuff I sent you in the past, he likes every non-conference game to be a home game because every year he uses the non-conference. He said today, I use the non-conference to get ready for March, which means he wants those games to be like games where he can tune his team up, get young guys ready to play and stuff. But
yeah, my only concern in question is that part of the problem that kept people away from Carver was the lack of bringing any names into the arena. Like I don't think we get Iowa State. I think we go to Iowa State this next year.
Yeah, I was disappointed. Like Keegan Murray's first year, we had North Carolina in there. And it was like, we had Garza on the team who was going for his second National Player of the Year, and the place was not sold out. It was like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah.
But
That's
anyway,
back in the days when we had the Big East Gavitt Challenge and the ACC Challenge, which neither
yeah,
one, I don't think either one exists anymore.
yeah.
Big Ten just got too big for it.
I don't know what Ben will do schedule wise, but I was just talking about what he did at his last two schools. He wanted all home non-conference games.
That's fine too. That's fine too.
Yeah.
However, whatever gets us back to the tournament, and that's what he said the goal was. He said the goal was to get to the NCAA tournament and be playing your best in March.
Yeah.
And oh yeah. Oh, what was I just looking at something here? Oh, I like the idea where he's willing to reach out to the students and the community, and if he's in Hy-Vee shopping, he will shake somebody's hand, and he thinks it's very important. That's how we get people back in.
He said he was going to work spring, summer, and winter and fall all year round, promoting the Hawkeyes, which that's a good answer. I thought it was interesting. Did you listen to Beth's interview afterwards that I sent you, or you were too busy to get ready for this?
Is that the one she had with Dolph and Bobby?
No. It's one she had like in the hallway afterwards.
Oh,
no. She said they asked her how many people other coaches did she talk to? And she says, well, off the top of my head, it was enough that I can't remember exactly.
Oh, wow.
But she said it was more than one hand. So we knew it was more than five. And he said, my first call was to Brad Stevens, like I said it would be, not to ask him to coach at Iowa.
Get his opinion.
Get his opinion on what it takes to win and some names. And then she said she talked to a myriad of other contacts like him, and then so we know it was more than five, we know Patino. It was probably Patino and DeVries and McCollum would have been three of them, right?
Yeah.
We know that kind of or not? I don't know.
Oh yeah. Or how about the one that just took the Minnesota job?
I don't know. I don't know if we even talked to him because everybody knew he was a ball boy at Minnesota. He was going to Minnesota.
Yeah. You said that. You said that at the beginning. You said that.
Yeah. Well, I didn't dream it up.
There, you said he's.
I have no knowledge. I just, I read everything and remember it.
Yeah, you do.
And as soon as Minnesota job came open, they go, well, we already know Medved's going there. He was a ball boy, grew up there. He's like Ben McCollum,
Just had to wait till his season was over. Okay.
I'm glad we got Ben's, all I know. So
yeah. Our first comment of the night, Vandy Chris says, Fran was not unemployed very long. I suspect he was going to be gone, whether fired or not.
Yeah.
I don't know about that part, but there are reports that he's being hired by the Penn, but I don't know if he's actually been hired yet, has he?
One guy reported it, and they were kind of making fun of him on the On3 thread that guy only had 4 followers. Yeah. So, but if it's true, it's true. I don't run with things but it's probably true. He's famous. Yeah. He's the most famous basketball player at Penn, White Magic. Fran McCaffrey took him to the Final Four, got blew out by Magic Johnson. But I suppose it's true.
Yeah, Vandy wouldn't say it if it wasn't true because he's like you. He doesn't spout off rumors and stuff. So
I just don't know.
At Penn.
I presume it's true, but I don't know. But I don't hate Fran, or anything. I'm not a hater unless somebody does something illegal or something. But I wish him good luck. I like that Ben at the news conference, he said, we've had Lute Olson, Raveling, Davis, and Fran build this program like that. So he gave Fran a tip of the hat.
Yes, he did.
You know,
Yes,
because
he did.
Fran was here for a long time. And I think one stretch he went 10 out of 11 years going to the NCAA, being in the first division of the Big Ten, which no coach at Iowa's ever done that
No,
before. But he
he
just
brought
didn't
that.
win in the tournament, you know. So
Yeah. We'll probably never know why his teams could perform well during the season, but kind of tanked at the end of the year in the tournaments. But
Mhm.
um, he uh,
Did
but he did a
Vandy
great
have
job.
anything? Did Vandy have? I can't read the comments. Was there anything
Okay,
else
he's
you
just
wanted to
saying
touch
that
on?
he's just saying what we already said. He's alumni of Penn. When home calls, you go home.
Yeah. Hey, did you
I
know
would.
my aunt? Did you know my ancestor founded the University of Pennsylvania?
I did not know that.
Timothy Matlack. So,
Maybe you should be in line for some money in your pocket.
yeah, I don't think he also penned the Declaration of Independence. That's his handwriting. And
Well,
the thing I'm most and he wrote the Constitution for the state of Pennsylvania. And the thing I'm most proud of is he started the abolitionist movement in the United States. He got kicked out of the Quaker Church because back then churches thought having black people as slaves was a okay thing, you know. But
yeah, it
anyway,
is
that's
never
enough
okay.
about
But
my family history. But
well, I want to match you on that.
yeah,
Um, one of the signers of the Declaration of Independence was a relative of mine,
yeah,
Charles Carroll of Carrollton, and he was the
cool.
last signer of the Declaration of Independence to die.
Okay, what state was he from?
Maryland.
Maryland. Cool.
Yeah,
I knew
we've
that.
all
I knew
we've
that.
all
I knew that. I knew that Jefferson and Adams died on the same day, the 4th of July,
how
on the
coincidental was
50th.
that?
Yeah, in 1826, the 50th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. But that's cool, Carrollton, huh?
Yeah, yeah,
Cool.
yeah. I've done many research on my. It's on my mom's side of the family. We've done many researches. All lines except for one lead to Ireland, and he's in the line that doesn't because that's the only line that goes back to where he's living. But he would be like a cousin of a cousin or something. He wouldn't be. He's not a direct descendant.
In the movie,
Makes it harder to find him.
National Treasure, when Nicolas Cage steals the Declaration of Independence and looks at the secret code on the back, he looks at the camera and he says, "That damn Matlack," and that's all he says. But all us fishers, we know who he's talking
You knew,
about.
yeah, you knew what he meant.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But anyway, we can get back on subject if
yeah,
we
we do. We got a Big East guard coming up for a visit.
visit.
Not been
Pride,
set yet, but
Pride Stand of Forts visiting Nebraska.
yes,
Yeah,
you mentioned that. I wasn't aware of that.
yeah.
But yeah, this guard is from the Big East. I didn't write his name down,
He's
unfortunately.
from DePaul.
Yeah, he's from
He,
DePaul.
he only averaged 7.5 points, but if Ben McCollum likes him, I like him. So,
Sounds like his assists were pretty decent.
yeah. And there's a pogo stick, a big guy from Valparaiso that had Iowa on his list,
Yeah.
but I don't know
So
his
there's
name.
yeah. So he's going to Indiana on April 1st and 2nd. This guy is, and they're trying to squeeze him in March 31st at Iowa City. And
Oh,
so,
cool.
but
Cool.
yeah, it'll be interesting to
We
see who he
won't
ends.
outbid Indiana, but
No, we won't. We won't. But
I think the
also,
whole Iowa State team's in the portal too. It seems like, but
yeah, I noticed that. Is that because their season didn't go as well as they
well,
expected? Because
I
it should have
talked
been like Final 14.
I talked to a big Iowa State guy today, my best friend in high school, and
Mhm.
he he goes, "What the heck's going on?" And I go, "They're smart." I said, "Every kid in college should go into the portal every year and just get a pay raise,
There you go.
even if
Yeah,
it's just a measly $50,000 more,
yeah,
Dean." You know,
yeah.
so
Well, this Sturts guy, if he comes, there'll be his third college.
he's
This
committed.
Yep, and this yeah, I like the way though because he hasn't signed anything, so that's why Ben had to say if that happens.
Yeah, yeah.
Because he had to clarify that it's not official yet.
I like that the kid said that he was dedicated to coach
Yeah.
because he was a nothing. He was a no star coming out of high school. And he made him into an All-American down there. And then now, McCollum called him the top point guard in the country.
Mhm.
He said, and he's got to be in the top 2 or 3. That's what he said in the press conference. Can
Yep,
you imagine that? Iowa having a point guard again that's Ronnie Lester or something that's a top
oh,
2
it'd be
or
nice
3
to
in
have
the country.
Ronnie Lester-esque guard or B.J. Armstrong-esque guard.
Him and Sturz are completely different. One guy's 6'5", and Ronnie Lester was just the greatest athlete,
Yeah.
all around player ever at Iowa. But
Yeah. Vandy now says he thinks Dix is going to follow McCollum as well. That makes sense. However, he put out his 5 schools that Dix would talk to, and Iowa was not on there.
people have always said that, Creighton was a big school for Dix because of his
It's
mother
not.
being sick and
Yeah, but he's not even on his list.
isn't. Okay.
No.
Who's on his list?
Indiana,
Mm-hmm.
Washington.
Dix will never go to Indiana. Oh, but Dix
Where?
knows DeVries, don't he?
Yeah.
Oh, I just thought, he's a good Hawkeye. He really is. He loves the Hawkeyes. I don't think he would stab the Iowa University in the back and go play for that dreaded, frickin' hated Indiana Hoosiers.
Yeah. Well, the only thing I hope is if he doesn't decide to come back to Iowa, and you never know, McCollum could use his magic and get him back and convince him. Maybe we find some money for him.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Come
who
back.
was his other teams? I interrupted you. You said
Oh,
Indiana.
I can't remember what the other teams were, but
Okay.
I noticed I was going to send that to you, and I forgot to do it. That Creighton was not on that list. If you give me a second,
Was
let me look real
Nebraska
quick.
on there?
I don't think so. Let me look real quick.
I was trying to think of teams that would be close to where his mother could see him and stuff like that.
Apparently, this is not, from what I saw before, that's not a concern of his right now. Let me see if I can find. Let me see if I can find something here real quick.
Well, if it ain't a concern, I bet he comes back to Iowa. But I would think he'd take a little discount, a hometown discount, to play for Ben McCollum and stuff. But
there's a lot. I have to go through a lot of repeats on my page because I'm glad that people feel comfortable enough that they want to post stuff, share stuff on my side. But I usually get 4 or 5 of the same stuff on the same page, so I have to scroll through here a little bit to find what I'm looking for. But I do appreciate you guys who do follow the page and who do post stuff on there because sometimes I miss it, and sometimes because I sleep in California a little later than you guys do. Like
I try to post everything I post on your page too, and I try not to repeat stuff that you post or anything.
yeah. Oh, by the way, did you see that picture of a young Ben McCollum with a young Tom Davis?
I posted it yesterday, and then you posted it like an hour later or something.
Yeah. See, that's what happens when you don't read everything on the page first.
Yeah. It doesn't matter if it's double posted, but yeah.
Okay, so I must have seen it somewhere, but it's not on. I didn't see it on my page. Nobody posted it. And by the way, in case anybody's wondering, I think yesterday was Pro Day.
Yep. Mr. Ellsbury was very impressive.
Yeah. I guess we'll find out tomorrow when Kirk has it. I mean, maybe he'll talk about some of that, or he'll just talk about his current team.
He'll probably just say that he's recommending his players as far as the pro day and everything. As Nick Jackson ran really good, which was a big, and Quinn Schulte did very good. He had like a 38-inch vertical leap, so never talk down about a walk on, because Schulte will probably surprise some people and stick with a practice squad or something, and then end up a starter at some point, you
Yeah.
know. So
Oh, we have an Iowa connection. You posted this earlier to the new women's coach at Wisconsin.
yeah, Robin Becker, Lisa Becker's sister. She played basketball at St. Ambrose for Lisa Bluter, and then she was assistant coach with Lisa. And then when Lisa went to Drake, she became the head coach at St. Ambrose. And then she went to Missouri as the head. She went someplace else as a head coach, like down St. Louis or something. And then she ended up as a head coach at Missouri, and she got hired at Wisconsin today.
Yeah.
Lisa Becker, of course, her son Michael Porter is a star in the NBA for the Denver Nuggets. So
I never knew that. So I mean, that's
I
cool.
wanted Michael Porter. He was the number one recruit in the nation, a 6'10" small forward. I wanted him to come to Iowa, and then I found out his dad was an assistant coach at Missouri, and he committed to Missouri, and then he broke his back, a bone in his back, so he didn't play at all at Missouri his freshman year. And then he went to the NBA and was like a 19th pick or something. He'd have been the first pick if he wouldn't have broke his back. But
Yeah. Hey, Vandy has some interesting tidbit here.
yeah,
There's a really good point guard from Michigan in the portal named Justin Pippen, Scotty's son.
yep.
His brother played at Vandy. Scotty Jr. would be a good fit at both Iowa and Vandy.
Justin was very highly recruited. He just hasn't played at Michigan. You know, I don't know what what year he is in, but he was like a 4-star, recruit. Just this Pippen that was at Michigan. But
Okay.
maybe this coach don't like him. He don't fit his system or something.
That could, but it's hard to deny a coach when he turns around a program in one season.
No, I'm not. I'm sure not.
And I think they're still dancing, aren't they?
I'm sure not criticizing Mr. May. He is a great coach at Michigan. I mean, he was a great coach.
Job, yeah.
Wasn't it Florida Gulf Coast?
Yeah.
I think he might have took him to a Final Four or something.
And he's done it with Hunter Dickinson gone for 2 years in a row now.
Yeah, but Michigan sure spent a lot of money for that team this year. Boy,
I bet they did.
They said Michigan and Indiana spent more money than anybody else in the portal last year. Of course, Rutgers and Maryland spent a lot of money too. But.
Yeah, those teams that have money. Okay. All right. Now, Vandy says about Robin, she's not very good. She was fired at Mitsu because they had a really bad record. I don't see her having any success at Wisconsin.
Yeah. I think she'll probably surprise some people. She's from the Bluter coaching tree, and of course, when you're a coach in the Big Ten now,
it's tough.
Big Ten or SEC in women's college basketball, you got to have a hell of a team to finish 11th, right? Weren't we 11th this year?
We were 11th.
We had a decent team. Yeah. It wasn't a historically good team, but had some problems. But
well, up until this year, it was historically the same 3 to 4 teams battling for the top spot in the Big Ten every year. Mm-hmm. Then you brought in, of course, you got Maryland, who got much better this year. You got Indiana
USC
and Illinois,
and UCLA.
Yeah, I wasn't going to get to them yet, but UCLA and USC, and that's another thing with Juju going down and having losing getting her ACL torn.
Wasn't that sad?
Does that hurt? How bad does that hurt? USC, because if that happened to Caitlin Clark, I would fear that we wouldn't have made the final.
It'll probably make them lose to UConn and won't go to the Final Four. But it's like the Bulls have a good team without Michael Jordan, but they ain't going to win the championship.
Okay, so UConn wouldn't be their next game. So their next, because Oklahoma's going to play UConn.
Yeah, I hope Oklahoma beats them. I love Jenny Lillis. Branzik is her last name now, but us old guys, we know she's us old guys, we know she's Jenny Lillis.
Yeah.
So
it's too bad that they were pounding the heck out of Iowa, because honestly, the way they were playing offense and defense and everything they were doing, it was actually kind of fun to watch. I
She
just wish
plays.
I was
She
watching
plays.
them against another team when they did that.
She plays Bluter ball with way better players.
Yeah,
You
well,
know
and all of her
what
players
were
were
they?
big.
What were they, Dean? 12 deep. I mean, the Jones girl from Iowa that was, a good college player at Iowa State or whatever. She don't even hardly get to play.
I
You
noticed
know,
that. But did
which
you also
don't
notice
bother
how
me
big
too
the girls
much.
were?
Don't bother me too much because I don't care for her dad. So
Yeah, her.
this
Yeah,
isn't public, is it?
yeah.
Iowa coaches won't even recruit them.
I'm pretty sure 100% that you don't have to worry about her dad watching this or
And then
Ashley.
and then Jenny got the number one player in the country today,
Who was it?
Miss Chavez, the number one prep girl.
Okay.
Yeah, she came and surprised. She was down to 2, and she committed to Jenny today. I was like, "Holy God, she got the Juju Watkins of,
Yeah.
of freshman next year." I
We
think
are
she was
probably
from
going to
Texas.
lose
I
out
think she
on
was from Texas. But
I saw that the one girl Harping. Can't
what
think of
about
it.
her?
I know that it looks like she visited UCLA recently because she's got UCLA all in her family and gear all over the place, and so I'm wondering if
Yeah,
UCLA is in the lead for that for
I
her.
doubt. I doubt it. I think I was right there.
I hope you're right. We
Yeah,
could use a break.
her dad. If Georgia Tech had a really good program, because their dad was a star at Georgia Tech and then a star in the NBA, Matt Harpring. But I have a good feeling about Walitsko and Harpring, and they're the two best girls we're recruiting right there. They're ahead of the. Do you say it Bjorn or Born? The super player from Kansas City.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I need to dig something out of my thing here real quick. Is this the women? Nope.
hey, did you see the Cody McMahon hit the portal yesterday? The girl that said Iowa disrespects Ohio State.
Yes. Speaking of Ohio State,
Did
I
you
did
see
not know
that?
that
Or
she's just trying to be another
she's
Reese.
Angel Reese.
Yeah, she's
She'll,
trying to be
she'll
Angel
go
Reese
to
without the
she'll
eyelashes.
go to she'll go to LSU or something. But,
Yeah. Okay, Ohio State women with Jelani Cambridge is going to be a problem the next 3 years.
oh
I'm
yeah,
thinking that this is
she
a
was
good recruit that they brought in.
she was the number one recruit last year, and then because she committed to Ohio State and not an SEC team or something, they moved her down in the rankings to like 3rd. So there's a lot of good freshmen in the Big Ten. The two Michigan girls, Olson and Sward, and there's a Kennedy girl is she at UCLA? And of course the Prince girl at Nebraska. But I think our Ava Hyden's going to end up first team All American when she's done. But
Oh my God. I mean, she's already coming on and showing flashes.
yeah.
The thing is she's so tall. I wish they'd stop bouncing her low passes because she can't get to them. People were getting mad because she couldn't get those passes, but you can't ask a 6'4" girl to go down to the ground and grab that.
Yeah, I told you, I sent you, and I know you didn't have time to watch it, but the Locked On Hawkeye guy, I can't remember his name, but
Trent Condon.
he did, I don't always agree with him, but he did a spot on take on the Iowa basketball women today. He really did a good job, and he said Ava Hyden, he said Jenny Lillis just had 2 or 3 girls on her all the time. He knew that Ava and Hannah, when they're in the game together, they don't have to guard them when they're 10 feet away,
Mm-hmm.
and that's got to change. You know,
Yeah.
Addie O'Grady can hit that 12-foot shot.
Yes.
Hannah and Ava, they can do it. I think Hannah would have done it if she wouldn't have hurt her knee and she couldn't even practice shooting.
I know this summer will be different. Summer workouts. She'll be working on that outside shot.
this year's team, people have to understand that Fulter, Stolke, and Guyton were hurt and they couldn't practice. Hell, Guyton was just very limited for part of the season, you know. She's going to be totally different next year.
Yeah.
You know?
And Kelly Levine was also hurt all summer, and that hurt
That's right.
her.
Yeah.
You know, hard telling where she might have ended up with the rotation of the freshmen had she not started out from behind.
Yeah, I have faith in the Iowa coaches. If you watched Cesano and Kate Martin play when they were young at Iowa, you thought they were never gonna amount to a hill of beans. And hell, they were like almost. I mean, Kate Martin was never an All-American, but hell, she's in the WNBA, and she had a heck of a season. I bet Kylie Feuerbach will take another jump next year. You know,
I hope so.
Did she improve? Didn't you think?
She's our best defender, so
Yeah.
and I would love to see her get more consistent on that 3-point shot that she takes.
Yeah.
But you know, her and Falter weren't afraid to drive to the rim either, and I like that. But the person I think I'm going to miss the most off this team this year will be a Falter.
Yeah, a Falter drove to the rim and finished better last year, and I blame it on her knee.
Mm-hmm.
I think when you hurt your knee, the muscles around your leg take time to quit atrophy, get out of atrophy and everything. Mm-hmm. And that's the only, if you tune in and watch her play in the Final Four last year,
mm-hmm.
and in the Big Ten tournament, she was all Big Ten tournament.
Right.
She played totally different, jumped better, hit pull-up shots better. I just don't think she was ever 100% myself.
Oh, that could be because you know, she did have a knee scope, so it wasn't like a major knee surgery.
Mm-hmm. But she didn't have it. She didn't have the damn thing till like September or something.
It was like waited a little too long, I thought.
Yeah, the knee always bothered her, but she didn't want to get it fixed. And then when she come back to school, she couldn't hardly walk. And she goes, "Oh, we got to do something about it." Oh my God. Mm-hmm. Why didn't we do it in May?
Yeah.
But no, let's do it in September, October. So,
well, I will tell you this: it's 2 years later since I had a scope on my right knee, mm-hmm. and it never was completely healed. I couldn't have gone out and played basketball on it. Mm-hmm. And now that right knee, at this time next week, I will be under the knife getting a right replacement knee.
Oh shit! Well, I sure hope you get along good.
I hope to too. Okay, let's read some of these comments from Vandy. He's taking over your role tonight on the comment sheet.
He's on a roll.
He's on a roll. He goes, I picked South Carolina in my bracket until someone beats them. They are the team to beat, period, and the end. I had USC, but now that Juju's out, I seriously doubt that USC makes it past the next game.
I got UCLA. Right now, I have 13 out of 16 teams right, and I am I going to get hung because I got the Oklahoma game right yesterday?
No, you won't.
Although
I didn't put it on my bracket, I put Iowa in my bracket. I did say publicly that Iowa. After I watched their game the other night and read up on them, I said, "There's no way Iowa can beat this team." I just didn't think it was going to be a 35-point blowout.
Yeah, I just know that Oklahoma moves the ball as good as any team in the country. I mean, there were times when they were moving the ball so fast yesterday. I thought our girls in the post, I thought their heads were going to spin off. You know, trying to keep up with where the ball was. That's Lisa Bluter ball, you know?
Yeah.
And when you're 12 people deep, 64 rebounds. Have you ever heard of such a thing, Dean? I've never heard of 64 rebounds since Wilt Chamberlain did it by himself.
Oklahoma in the previous game did 75 rebounds.
Oh, my God. I had no clue about that. I knew they were a great rebounding team.
Yeah, when I saw the 75 rebounds, I go, yeah, that just confirms me.
Oh my God!
You know, and what's her name didn't play much of the game. She spent a lot of time on the bench. Their big
Beers. She transferred in from Oregon State.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was a nice little money. Oklahoma's got a lot of oil money.
Yeah,
all them teams except Iowa's got a lot of money. They
Well,
did.
If I move to Oklahoma, I promise you, I will stop in and catch a couple of games in Norman. Okay. Vandy says, couldn't be that the National Freshman of the Year residing in Nashville and in the SEC. Ha 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 ha. So, Chris, are you trying to say that the National Freshman of this year was in Vanderbilt? At
For the
Vanderbilt?
women or men?
I gotta believe that it's got to be the women because we
Okay.
were talking women.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay. I don't either. Vandy, tell
We
me
talked
that
men
that's what
too.
you're telling
I
us.
know Vanderbilt's well healed with Mark Cuban now. So,
Yeah,
you know.
Vandy, is that true? How do you feel about having Mark Cuban helping you out? Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. He goes, do you remember when Jan Jensen and Pam Johnson both played together at Drake? Honestly, that I really wasn't following women's basketball at that time, so I don't.
I knew who Jan Jensen was, but that was it. Because I knew Jan Jensen in high school was famous, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
She averaged like
Pam is now coaching
64
AA.
points a game or something.
Yeah. Yeah. It says Pam is now coaching AAU ball in Oklahoma City.
Cool.
Ooh. Maybe she helps Jenny pipeline a few of those players.
I don't know.
Okay. Okay. And the National Freshman of the Year was at Vanderbilt. Her name was Michaela Blakes.
Cool.
Okay. That is cool. Going to put Vanderbilt women's basketball on the map, are we?
I believe it. His
Well,
name's Vandy.
yeah. And before we actually get done here tonight, I do want to point out that I may have already said that Max White and John Nestor have both jumped in the portal.
Yep.
I don't understand why Nestor would do that. He's practically a starter.
Nestor's dad didn't work out at West Branch coaching football, and I think they wanted to get out of Dodge, I think. But
So he wanted to leave Iowa too and be
I
closer to his family.
don't know. I do know what happened with his dad at West Branch this year. He didn't really fit into that culture or something.
Okay.
I think
Isn't
he
West
wanted
Branch where we
Marv Cook was.
Yeah, didn't he coach them and coach them pretty well?
No, Coach Peterson was there for like 50 years. And Marv Cook went to Iowa City, Regina, and turned that into a power.
He did. He did. I wonder what he's doing today.
I don't know.
I'm surprised we didn't tab him as a tight end.
You want every ex-Hawkeye to be Kirk's coaches. Kirk doesn't do that. I mean,
I know that.
Yeah.
I know that. Okay.
Kirk interviews guys and finds out who the best interview was and what kind of character they are and what their background is. And,
we'll just have to wait and see how everything's
But we're still you got to understand this football. I have the football roster sitting right in front of me. Here's the scholarship guys over here, and here's all the walk-ons.
Which doesn't amount to very many.
They still have to cut some guys.
Well, that's probably why the two of those are in the portal.
I have a few in mind, but I don't like to say names because it's like I'm being critical of these guys are no good, got to get rid of them, which ain't the case. I just know that they got to get rid of 5-7 guys and somebody's got to leave.
Yeah, you know? Well, not only that, but we still got to make room for transfer portal people in May because know they're coming. And we're losing some and they're coming.
You hear that Phil might want a cornerback or something. You know,
that's what I'm hearing.
That's about. Oh, and they got to have a long snapper. A guy from Arizona State wanted to come, but LeVar told him to wait till after spring to see if any of the walk-on long snappers are great. You know, because if you can get a walk-on long snapper that's great, Dean, you got him for 5 years.
Yeah,
this guy from Arizona State's 1 year.
As Kluver, he was a walk-on snapper, wasn't he?
Not all of them are. The highest paid long snapper in the NFL right now is Casey Kreider from Iowa for the New York Giants. He's in his 10th or 11th year. I sent you the walk-on podcast with him yesterday or the day before.
Yeah.
Wasn't a lot of interesting stuff in there on that one, but
Yeah, I do have to pick and choose some of that because you send me so much stuff. It would take me 10 hours a day to go through
And
all that.
everything, all them podcasts, I listen to the whole thing.
I know.
unless they're
I sent
unless
you an
they're
email.
crap unless
I
they're
sent you.
crappy, you know. But
I sent you an email earlier, and you said I'm busy on the phone. Okay. All
well, I
right.
was.
You remember the comment I made about putting Vandy on the map? He goes on the map. They went to 18 straight 16s at one point. Thank you,
Cool.
Jerry D. Hello all. Thank you. Welcome to the show. Please like and subscribe while you're here, please. While you're
Jerry
doing it right
D.
now. Jerry
Okay.
D. Okay, hot take. Hank Brown will be your starting quarterback on opening day for game 1.
I doubt that.
I don't know.
He better quit staring at wide receivers like he did at Auburn. So that don't work when you play a good team, but he sure
No.
has a nice arm, big guy. I'm not a big fan of his high school coach, but the pro football player.
Yeah.
But
But I think with Lester,
Granosky will be the starting quarterback unless something happens to him.
yeah, there are people who telling me that this shoulder surgery that he had isn't as routine as people thinking it.
He had
There's
way
people who've
less.
actually had it who said their shoulder never got back better.
I think you'll find out from Kirk yesterday that this is a little bit of labrum or whatever it was much more minor than they thought it was, and he's going to be back quicker than we thought. He'll probably be back to throwing in May or June instead of July, is what I'm hearing. Of course, I don't know anything. I'm no expert.
I heard that he won't be participating in spring drills, but he will be out there throwing and playing catch.
He's not going to throw any in spring drills.
Yeah, he's not going to do regular spring drills. Okay. The Jerry is from the Punting is Winning podcast. If you guys haven't heard their podcast, it's really fun
I
podcast
I listen to it every time, and then I try to answer their question.
Yes.
I got their question yesterday right. Creighton 2022. So
what was the question?
the last time Iowa didn't go to the Sweet 16 in women's basketball. I wanted him to ask before Megan Justison, when was the last Sweet 16 we were to? Because you had to go way back to the 1990s with I don't know if Angie Lee is for her first year. Maybe she had that great team that Vivian Stringer left her, and she went like 30-4 or something. But Lisa Bluter never won more than one NCAA game in the first round. She never won. She came to Iowa in 99 or 2000, and she never got past she never won more than one NCAA game until Megan Gustafson's senior year, and they went to the Elite Eight.
Was that 20? That was 2019, correct?
I think it was a year before Caitlin, or 2 years before Caitlin.
Yeah, it was either because she tells the story. I think they got to the Elite Eight, and she went and told Caitlin. She went directly to Caitlin's house after that and said, "We need you. We're so close, but you're the one piece that can get us into the Final Four."
Yeah, she
Caitlin did it 2 out of 4 years.
She told Caitlin, "I told you that we can go to the Final Four. See, we got to the Final 8. Got blew out by Baylor and Kim Mulkey, but
Jerry says UConn.
UConn what?
I don't know. It goes 1993, and then he says lost to UConn. I'm not doing everything.
1993 women's.
I'm sure that's what we're talking about.
Sweet 16. Okay. Yeah. We went to the Final Four in 95, I think.
Yeah. Hey, do you remember on the men's team, since this did start out as a men's podcast, the last time we beat a national champion, but we beat him the next season?
Well, Steve Alford beat Connecticut.
Yep, his very first game.
I didn't know if that was right, but I remember that.
Yes, that is right.
We didn't have a good team that year, but I think we only won maybe 14 games or something. But
1993 Final Four. That was
We lost to Ohio State in the semifinal with Katie Smith going baseline.
yeah.
Um,
that was the year with oh my gosh, I'm drawing a
Lori
blank.
Aaron was about the best point guard we ever had.
That
We
was
had
Molly
Tony
Tideback.
I think we had Tony. No, Tide. Yeah, Tideback was a backup.
Yeah, she
We
was a
had
backup.
Kathy
Injuries
Martz.
caused her to be a backup.
Kathy Martz was this great big girl, and I think she was a backup too. But was it Nicole Tunsil and Tony Foster? I don't know.
Yeah, Vivian Stringer. Yeah, Vivian
And
Stringer's team.
and they had all the freshmen on that team, the number one recruiting class in the history of basketball.
Yeah.
I think Andre Harmon and all them girls. But
Yeah. If you guys watch this podcast enough, you guys know that Molly Tyback, who was on that Final Four team, is my usual women's basketball co-host, and we are going to do a wrap-up of the season and do some fever games
boy, Molly
later. But you also
Molly does a great job. Boy, does she have a personality or what?
She does. She makes it very easy to have her on the show. I don't have to do a lot. But also too,
I loved it when you had Angie Lee on.
That's what I was just going to say. We had Angie Lee was an assistant coach on that team, and we had her on. Oh my gosh, that was one of the best podcasts.
Yeah, I remember when Angie played for Iowa.
Yeah, I told Angie. She sent me an email thanking her and how much fun she had. She thanked me for having her on and how much fun she had. I emailed her back and I says, "We need to do it again." So
I told you today we were talking about your podcast, and I said Molly sure does a good job and everything. And I said, boy, if you had Angie Lee on too, boy, that would be Angie's. Oh, she don't forget nothing. Of course, she was there,
She was there. Yeah. No, it's just.
And it's nice to get her back into Iowa. It's like Steve Crafton is so happy today that Ben, because he became a Cyclone for 15 years, so he was the enemy for 15 years. But Steve is so excited about Ben being at Iowa, So.
Ben says, who is the team that Iowa blew out in the regular season during the 87-88 men's basketball season that went on to win a national championship?
Indiana.
Iowa beat this team by 19 points.
Indiana?
The 87-88 team was Tom Davis's first year, right? They made it to the Elite Eight.
No, that wasn't. I think that was 86-87. We beat Indiana that year, and Indiana won the national championship with Steve Alford.
So it was 86.
We beat Indiana at home big. I mean, we blew them out. And Bobby Knight told their team that that's the best Big Ten team he's ever played against. And then they beat us. They beat us at Indiana. Remember, they threw the ball off Brad Lowhouse's face.
Well, here's what I want to say on this one. Since Vandy Chris is the one that asked the question, I'm going to go with Vanderbilt. I don't remember, but I'm just going to guess Vanderbilt. Who won the national championship?
Well, is he talking about men's basketball or
yes,
girls?
He is. I think he's talking about men's this time.
No, that ain't right. Vanderbilt's never won a men's championship in the last 40 years.
He does say men, so it's not right. Jerry said either Vandy or Michigan. Vandy, it's time to come clean. Tell us what the answer is. Okay, and I want to go back up to this one. I want to talk about, but
well, let's just think about it, Dean. The year after Indiana and Alford won the national championship, it was probably UNLV, but we got blew out by UNLV. Maybe. I don't know who won the next year.
Who won the men's national championship?
1989.
In
1988.
88. Kansas Jayhawks.
Yeah, well, I don't remember blowing them out. That was the Danny Manning team.
Yeah, Larry Brown coached that.
He might have been talking about 1987, and we we did blow out Indiana at home. We scored over 100 points against him, and Bobby Knight had never had 100 points scored against him before.
Yeah. While we're talking about this, let's go back and Vandy. We skipped over a comment that Vandy said about all.
But anyway, Dean, you cheated by using your phone. You can't cheat.
I just did now because
that's how you get those punting is winning. That's how you get them punting is winning things. Right. Yeah.
Actually, I got a stack of books here that I can look it up.
Well, that's cheating. I don't look up anything.
Yeah.
So well, what's Vandy saying?
They called me out for looking it up. They say they're pretty sure I call him. Jerry said I was pretty watching. Anyway, I promise you from watching him in person and knowing a lot about him, Hank is him. He is really he had a really bad coach at Auburn. Okay. So now we're going to get that one over with. Okay. Yeah. Jerry says that was Kansas. We were talking Kansas. Vandy said Kansas and Danny Manning.
We played them that year?
We beat them 100-81.
That year or the next year?
That year, I guess.
Huh. Oh, we probably played them in some tournament at the start of the season, probably. Cool.
Yeah.
Maybe the Alaska shootout or Hawaii or something.
Because I don't think Tom Davis scheduled
see that
those kind of teams on purpose.
Yeah, that rings the bell. Yep.
Mm-hmm. At Fog Allen. Huh. Okay. Alrighty. Do this. Yep. Alrighty. So we got that part out of the way. Alrighty.
Anything else about Ben McCollum?
Yeah. I know, we sure went down a rabbit hole, but it's fine.
No, it's fun. It's fun.
It was fun.
Nobody probably likes our conversation, but anyway.
The Maui Invitational, in case you're curious.
There you go.
Yeah, we haven't been to any of those, like the Alaska Shootout, the Maui Invitational.
I don't even know if they have them anymore. The only reason that teams used to go to them was because you got extra games on your schedule. You were always limited to 28. But if you played in Alaska or the Chaminade or Maui, you got an extra 2 games. So
I wonder if you're probably right. I haven't heard anything about
Tom Davis's first game ever at Iowa was up at the Alaskan Shootout, and we won it. I remember after that Alaskan Shootout, we beat Jim Valvano for the championship, and they asked Roy Marble in the locker room. He goes, "We finally got a coach." He was running Raveling just threw a ball out there and wanted the talent to win. And we got a guy that can coach now. Roy, shut up.
There you go. Jerry said that he missed the first half of what our thoughts were on Ben. You want to talk a little bit about that, and we can kind of wrap it up here? Talk about what you said about Ben.
Well, just that. I don't remember. He said, well, Beth talked to more than 5 people. She called Brad Stevens first, not to ask him to be hired as a coach, but for opinions. And she said she'd ask a bunch of other people for opinions on coaches. And she said she interviewed more than 5, and they never negotiated with McCollum until Sunday morning. He arrived back from his tournament at 10 a.m. in Des Moines, and then he come to Iowa City, and they signed the contract at 6:45. Ben said Monday morning, and
I tell you what, though.
Ben said that his expectations is to win. And win a lot. And then he said, Beth has even higher expectations than that. So Beth must have told him that she wants to win championships, is what I think.
She wants to hear the word national championship.
And Ben is a lockdown defensive coach and very meticulous on offense. If he's got a good offensive shooting team, they shoot quickly. And he said this year he only had 2 good outside shooters on the team, so they had to work the ball around for quite a while before they'd get that shot that was a high percentage shot.
Right.
And he said the best way to have a good defense is not to miss your shot. So the team has to take the ball out of bounds so you can get back into position.
Yeah. I'm actually excited about him coming. I like, he could sell me swampland after I heard him talk today. But
Yeah.
I love what he had to say. I love his attitude. And after, being among the people who didn't want him to come because I thought it would be more like a lick ladder ball.
Mhm.
It's not. I watched his championship game in the Valley tournament. Watched his 2 games in the NCAA. He's not playing lick ladder ball, not at all.
Yeah, I compared it to Tony Bennett and Bo Ryan, like a Gene Katie. You're going to play tough basketball and team basketball, unselfish basketball, and whatever it takes to win. And then he also talked about, Steve Crafterson and his other coaches and what he learned from them. And Beth interviewed him 4 years ago for a basketball job at Butler.
Yes, I didn't know that until
That was the interview in the hallway. That was the interview on the hallway that I sent to you just before you wanted to do this podcast.
Yeah,
and you didn't get a chance. Yeah. She said she talked to him 4 years ago, and she said he impressed her, and so they had a connection going leading into this Fran firing, which I'm sure she knew she was going to fire Fran. Well,
I don't know. I don't know how many people actually turned off their YouTube after McCollum walked away, but right then and there, Dolph and Bobby picked it up and they kind of went over some things. They interviewed him. They interviewed Beth as well, and I thought a lot more good information came out of there, and I think Dolph and Bobby are excited to work with him this year.
And then early on, we mentioned Brad Heinrich's interview in the morning, where he said that him and Beth are in constant contact all the time. They text every day. And he said he said, "No, I'm not involved in the interviews." And I thought, well, why would you be involved in the interviews? You don't know shit about basketball. You're a golfer.
Well, the people at On3 were basically begging him to come on and give him some news. Iowa did kick the tires on Greg McDermott. He was not interested. She also had conversations with Bryce Drew at Grand Canyon, but I do not know if there was anything further than gauging his interest. I don't know.
Her answer. Like they said, how many did you interview or talk to? How many coaches did you talk to about the job? And she says, "Oh my God, I don't know the exact number off the top of my head like that." And she said, "Well, 3, 4," and she goes, "Oh no, it was more than 5." So whatever.
Another thing I got out of it,
I figured Patino, and we know DeVries. She talked to him, but and then I said in the start that Mr. Kakert on his On3 thread, which I hope he don't get mad that I tell this, but he said at the first donor meeting, he said the donors wanted her to hire DeVries, and she said, "No, my first choice is Ben McCollum." So I don't know. And then you hear that her talk with DeVries was, "Well, what's Indiana offering?" And he told her what they were offering, and she just says, "Okay, we're done." Can't match that.
No, I didn't even know that she even had a conversation with him.
That's what was put forth by that On3 again, which I trust.
David Elkhorn or whatever his name is. That stuff he put out Sunday. It was so premature on it.
And if these guys, most of these guys aren't journalists. They're like guys they're like media personalities. They have podcasts and they have a media thing. A lot of these guys, which I don't even know David Eichel, a lot of them are like, we got to rush to post it.
Yeah.
post it
you know
before
what?
anybody else. We'll get it right first, but
David's young enough that he could be either one of our grandsons biologically.
yeah, a lot of these guys don't have no clue. They'll say,
Yeah.
this is the greatest recruiting class at Iowa ever in football. And I'll go, no, it ain't. Hayden Fry had recruiting classes that were top 10, and stuff like that. Well, we've never had a 5-star before. Well, what the hell was Dan McGuire and Vernon Rollins and Malcolm Christie? Young people they don't think there was any recruiting services before they started having these star ratings.
Yeah.
But that's young people.
Vandy says, I remember many times watching on my 13-inch black and white TV as Iowa played in the Alaskan Shootout, played Alaska Anchorage several times. Yeah.
I remember the good old days, Dean. After 1978, every Iowa basketball game was on TV because they were on KWWL and Water. You ever hear of Waterloo, Iowa, Dean?
I should have. It's my hometown.
I know it. How come we didn't get them girls from Waterloo, Iowa to come play basketball at Iowa, Dean?
The thing I was asking and nobody can answer me is was either one of them ever recruited by Iowa?
Well, hell yes. The girl for Oklahoma was like a 4 or 5-star.
Yeah.
They took Waterloo West to like this state tournament. There was 2 of them, but a lot of girls just don't seem interested in Iowa. When you're a big recruit, sometimes you always think that, oh, it's just Iowa. Even though Iowa is one of the most storied women's basketball programs of the last 40 years, they think, oh, something else got a more shiny name, right, Dean? Yeah. Why the hell did Molly Tideback go to UCLA? It's like, what was Hollywood calling her? She probably thought, oh, it's nice and warm in UCLA, and that's a great college or something.
Yeah,
but
she got hurt.
It dawned on her when she was at UCLA, God, I should have went to Iowa, So.
But she did enjoy her time at UCLA.
Caden Proctor would have went to a way better offensive line group, offensive line coaching if he'd went to Iowa. But Alabama is Alabama. Mm-hmm. Iowa does a better job with offensive linemen of any school except Notre Dame. Yeah. Notre Dame's number 1 right now. But
he said he didn't hear the word national championship.
Well, all they talk about
Iowa, but
he didn't attend any of the workouts, so he never heard the coaches saying our goal is to win every game. That's their goal.
He said nobody friended him, so he just felt lonely there.
Even though his best friend was there, Xavier Wampa. That kid, whatever, forget about him. Yeah, I'm sorry I brought his name up.
He's yesterday news. What about Willie Guy here? Jerry brought up Willie Guy, a 5-star recruit. I remember we had him on the team, and wasn't he on Kirk?
He was from Tennessee, and I was writing on recruiting. I'm old. I've been writing about recruiting ever since I was 22 years old. And Willie Guy was the Dallas Morning News Player of the Year in the paper, so Iowa fans thought he was great. And Tennessee didn't even offer him a scholarship when Tennessee was a big program at that time. Not as fast as people thought he was. I'm not running down Willie, but he was not as high a recruit back then. If you're 60 years old and you were following it, of course, Hayden bragged him up and gave him number 1, but he was just an okay player at Iowa.
Well, see, I thought he was on Hayden Fry's first team, and he
was on one of the last ones.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I met Kirk Ferentz's first team, and Kirk kicked him off.
He didn't make it to Kirk Ferentz's.
Did he get kicked off
team? I don't think he never got kicked off the team. He might have made Kirk's first year, but I don't think so. I think Kevin Casper and Khalil Hill were the starting wide receivers. And Kevin Casper might have been the best wide receiver Iowa's ever had since Don Norton.
Yeah. Jerry, if you're still out there and you're still watching, could you elaborate on when Willie Guy left the team, and how he left. Did he quit or did he get kicked out? Or did he just use up eligibility and never got used?
He just used up eligibility and didn't make it into pros because he probably ran a 4.65 40.
Well, we had a bunch of people watching earlier. We're down to 2 now, so this might be a good place to wrap it up and call it good.
Me and you are watching.
I know. Oh, I'll have more viewers once I get this out to everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember
Alrighty.
when Willie Guy was in high school. So I think he averaged like 45 yards a punt return, which was ridiculous. Must have played a bunch of terrible teams, but
Well, he must have had a few takebacks to the end zone then.
well, hell yes. Yeah.
All right, let's get out of here. Let's call
ridiculous
this
number.
good. I'm gonna get out of here. We're gonna go out, guys. Thanks for watching. Appreciate it. Please remember to subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the like button. Share it with your friends. Leave a comment or two, and I'll come back in and say something later. But anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks, Kelvin, for helping out tonight.
Anytime you need help and I'm not sick, I'll help you.
All right, here we go. We're out.